owners, are you trying to make bigger profits in your small business? If you're like most of us business owners, increasing your profitability is always on your mind. And you're probably looking for ways to grow your revenue while growing your company. Well, you found a podcast that shares ideas to help you do just that. Well, I'm Marcia Reiner. I'm a business growth strategist, and I've helped tons of small business owners to establish and implement a tangible plan that guarantees increased profitability, guides your growth, and plans for a future exit. Because building a highly profitable and sale-ready business creates a win-win scenario. That's more money now and a windfall when it's time to let go. And I look forward to sharing strategies that I've learned with you on today's Profit with a Plan podcast. But before we get started, I've got this great training available for business owners right now. It's called the 30-Day Profit Booster. This is where I show you how to get a 45% boost in net profits in just 30 days, simply by following a 3-step method that doesn't require you chasing more customers. This quick and easy profit boosting strategy can be done without spending more money on marketing, hiring additional staff, or working longer hours. Go check out this webinar for free at 30dayprofitbooster.com. All right, I'm excited to have my international fellow podcasting guest on with us today. Khudania Ajay, also known as AJ, is an accomplished media consultant, podcast host, and independent journalist in New Delhi, India. He is an esteemed host of the KAJ Masterclass Live, where he brings global masters of money and business to share their insights, information, and expertise to his audience on an almost daily basis. With the remarkable track record, AJ has successfully hosted over 500 guests from around the world, including yours truly. With over 2 decades of experience in the media industry, AJ has worked with prestigious organizations such as CNBC in India, Reuters, and Press Trust of India. He has honed his skills and knowledge throughout his career, making him a trusted and sought-after professional in his field. AJ holds a master's in political science from Delhi University, further deepening his understanding of the socio-political landscape. He also holds a diploma in journalism from the esteemed India Institute of Mass Communications in New Delhi. And finally, he holds and obtained a diploma in management, further enhancing his capabilities to effectively navigate the business world. Let's just say he's highly educated. Driven by passion, he has helped others succeed. AJ has dedicated to empowering his audience through his live masterclasses. And by leveraging expertise of a renowned industry leaders, he aims to equip listeners with the tools and knowledge they need to achieve their goals, thrive in their respective fields. Wow, AJ, thank you so much for coming on Profit with a Plan podcast.
Thank you so much, Marcia, for this chance to appear, for this opportunity to be a guest on your esteemed podcast.
Yeah, this is great. So we met through an organization, and you kindly invited me to be on your show. That was a lot of fun. And so, we got to talking and thinking that, you've got all these skills and 500 episodes of promoting podcast guests and really understanding how to ask great questions. And we thought it would be a perfect opportunity for listeners to learn how to get into the podcasting world themselves as the expert and utilize the personal or the public relations to grow their business. So, AJ, really, what got you into the idea of podcasting? What attracted you to do so many shows?
Right. So podcasting is a medium which has been there for some time, but it took up quite much after COVID. But even before that, a lot of organizations were doing podcasts, individuals were doing podcasts. And in terms of me, I come from a content background. I've been a journalist for many years. And for me, to make use of different mediums is something that comes, naturally. But obviously, it took a bit of time for me to actually think about all these things. So I am trained in content in terms of journalism, in broadcast journalism also. So that put things together for me. And well, before the COVID itself, the mainstream journalism was not doing as good as it should be or be expected to. And because everybody will not have a place in the mainstream journalism. And so what do you do with your skills? You want to utilize it in the best manner possible, using those same principles of accuracy, about objectivity as well as balance. And so I thought, why not? Now time is ripe, and there are these tools available. The creator economy has provided you with those tools. So it gives you fresh relevance to my skills, fresh relevance to my profile. And I started with journalism, with my podcasting in July 2020. But then I thought it's life is much more fun. And by that time, I could understand that this is the best way to do it, because life has got that energy. It matches with the person I am. And also, because I don't come from a technical background, it also saves me that effort of editing. And the biggest thing from a podcast guest perspective, if you see, is that some podcasts have one issue, is that it takes a lot of time for them to get published. And here you have an immediate output, which anybody would be very happy to utilize it for whatever they want to, for their branding purposes, for any content that they are looking for desperately, in terms of neutral content that they can showcase for personal branding or for their business. A lot of book writers are there. So I understood this part very early on, and then a lot of requests were made by a lot of gracious guests, and I thought, why not? So I just tried to utilize all my understanding of a little bit of content and journalism, and went for this, and now I see it's more than 500 episodes, live episodes.
That's amazing. I mean, first of all, that's a huge commitment to go out and do that. But that means, listeners, if you follow this, 500 guests have been showcased to his audience, and then they can repurpose the same recording and showcase it to their audience. So for me, it seems like such a no-brainer as a podcast host, right? I mean, and a guest. It seems like such a no-brainer to get out and get your message heard internationally for nothing, for your time invested. And AJ, if I'm correct, I mean, technology has made it so simple right now to get your message out there. And even as a host, it's not that hard. Now, we're not telling you guys to go out and create your own show, which comes with its own baggage and pieces. But as a guest, wow, the exposure's insane on what you can do. So AJ, how do you present people? How do you push the content out, right? How do you get it out to your audience and to their audience?
Right. So let's look at it from two perspectives, two ways to look at it. One is purely from the audience perspective. But before the audience comes in, the calibration of my requirement and the guest requirement. Now, what do the guests get from the show? It's a global podcast show. It's a live show. So the guest gets an audience, not just in India, and not just in their country, which a lot of guests are from the US, Canada, Germany, France, and the UK. Most of them are from these regions. And among them, the US forms a major chunk. And then rest of the 50% comes from India. So at the same time, in this global podcast show, you get your audience from the US and the huge market called India. And that is what a lot of people are wanting to do. But even after doing the shows, perhaps a lot of people don't even realize it. And that is where the repurposing part, the sharing part comes in. You try to share this particular aspect, but you sit. So a lot of people have to understand this, that you have this diamond in your hand, but you got to understand its value. If you don't, then you will just give it to a pawn shop and it will
Right.
not be of the right value. So one is that guest part, that they have good opportunity. And even in terms of while they are planning even to be a guest on any particular program, they can plan which place or which is the market that they want to enter. And not just in India, they can look at any market in the world, try and be a guest in that market, and you are reaching out to audiences where even traditional media will find it difficult to do that. And with so much of less effort, you can do that. So that is one part. The other part is the audience. Even from a perspective, if you see from the Indian audience perspective, it's such a big country, educated population, and a place where there are millions of small businesses, entrepreneurs, freelancers, consultants who are not just working here, but also are, continuously engaged with the outside world, including all the places that I just mentioned. So they are looking for what? They are looking for the best practices. They are looking for all the good things that is happening in the world. And even if somebody is sitting in a village, he has the internet connection, he has got the mobile connection, and they have many questions while they are doing whatever they are doing. A lot of business students want to be businessmen. They are business people, entrepreneurship they want to get into. A lot of them are doing some side hustle. Even people who are into jobs. What do they want? They want solutions. And who are the best people who can provide solutions? It's like you have got an ailment, you want to go to the best doctor. So what I try is to bring the best of the guests possible who can share their expertise, who have solved such problems. And whoever is listening, if they come across any of these shows and finds that they are seeking for their problem or the things that they have in mind, it solves their problem for a lot of time. That gives them a whole new perspective to not only their problems, but also to so many other things that is happening in the world. So it is like I'm bringing the best of the need and the solution together. And what better than this? And I get to be very fortunate to get this chance of, learning from both sides. Because questions, they have the questions and the guests have the answers. And I try to use all my understanding, my education, my learning, my journalism, all this and whatever I read day in and day out, I try to ask as much questions as possible in terms of able to meet the demands of the solution people who are needing those solution, and as well as the guests who want to tell about their brand, about their struggle, about their stories, about also able to access the market that they are looking for.
That's amazing. And thinking about all that you just explained, everybody has these problems out here, and if you've got the solution, people are eager to find that solution all over the world. I think the biggest piece that we forget is that, oh, just because we live in this little town, we're not someone coined it, a 5 mile radius expert. We're international opportunities to be experts with. And I think that this medium is so fantastic because it's not one and done. It's not like, yes, you go live on LinkedIn and Facebook and wherever you go, but then oftentimes it disappears. These videos are forever, right? So you can republish them, you can leave them on your website, you can have them on other people's websites. If you put it out into YouTube, it lasts forever and can be found forever. And that's why I think that this medium of podcasting and using this tool allows guests and hosts, but primarily guests, to really get their message out and not have it be one and done, like a radio spot or a TV spot. It's one and done, right? But this is forever, where you could repurpose it and have it sit out there for a long time. So your message can be found by people at the time that they're looking for it. So I think that that's just, you really just hit the point on having that problem and solution and being the answer that people are looking for. And because the world seems to be getting smaller thanks to the internet and the way that COVID has opened up so many eyes for people, it really does truly allow somebody in, Kansas or Missouri to be in Germany or France or India at the same time without having to get on a plane and spend a ton of money. It really does make that the best opportunity for it. So when we're talking about repurposing this information, you talked a lot about, who the audience is. How easy is it to take that information you've got, as we just explained, and use it as public relations, as information about your company, which we're talking about here? How easy is that?
It is as easy as you see it, and it is as difficult as you see it. It all depends, seriously, it all depends on how you see it. And if you want to see it, then one thing you must always try to look at it in a very simple way. If you look at it in a simple way, it will not become work for you to utilize that content. And if you are, say, again, two aspects of it. If you are doing your own work, and say, if there is a video on YouTube, and I've also gone live on my, say, LinkedIn page, there are two options. One is to immediately engage your audience, your people, your stakeholders, your customers, or to everybody that you know on LinkedIn, and your friends who they know on LinkedIn. You can immediately share it as soon as the show is over, or even before the show. If you are 100% sure that you are going to make it to the show and not change your plans at the last minute, you can tell it to the world, listen, I'm going to come on this platform at this time. Please see if you want to. So you can begin even before the show begins, and your promotion starts there. I don't do it because many a times I don't want to promote it, and I'm not sure if the guest will come or not. But if they can assure the guest, the host, this is where the first tip comes in. If you can assure the guest, the host, about your plans, that you will not leave the host stranded, your promotion begins even before the show begins. So that is one
awesome.
part. And as soon as the show is over, suppose if you have not done that, as soon as the show is over, you immediately start using it. Get engaging with your stakeholders. That's what you have been waiting for. That's
right.
what you have been working for.
Exactly.
That's
It makes
what
you that expert.
You have waited for a month or so for this show to come. And now, once you have made that all that effort, don't sleep over it. Use it. That 1 hour of LinkedIn interaction is making you reach many, many people. Because if you do it, then the host will also be egged to do it. Otherwise, for the host, the job is done. It has gone to his audience. Okay, so that is one part. Repurposing part, again, is that if the video has gone on YouTube, there it is very easy. All you have to do is to use that link. Use that link on your media channels, wherever you want to, and don't think that it is not going to, your job has to be the prima donna, you are the host, so your job is over. If you have not used it, it means all this effort has gone in vain.
Exactly.
And it is not going to work. It is very easy to share on Facebook. It is very easy to share on Pinterest. It is very easy to share on any platform. You can utilize it even on Rumble. It's very easy to share the link there.
Love it.
It helps you. And the biggest thing is, when we talk of repurposing, and I'm talking about not doing anything, just the link itself.
Right. That means no technology, anybody. You just take that link and put it where you want it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the next step is that when you put it out on the Google search, it is there on Google. Don't think that Google forgets. You may forget Google, you may forget Bing, but these two platforms will always remember you. And at the moment, the way the search is changing the way things will come up on search is going to be phenomenal. And everything from the video, the YouTube videos are popping up on the top now. And
Yeah.
also, see, Google has seen it for quite long that if 40% of the audience, young generation, they are looking for places, searching, they're doing their search on Instagram, especially the young generation, maybe till 24, 25, if I understand correctly, 40% of this population or the target audience, they are going on TikTok, on Instagram to do their search. In some time, all this Instagram and TikTok and everything else is going to get indexed into Google or maybe Bing. And once it gets indexed, if I understand it correctly, all these searches will start coming up on the list. So your name, even if you post anything on TikTok or any platform else, it's not going to be in waste. You will suddenly find that anybody who does a search about your name, about your business, suddenly you have created so much of content for yourself that it is going to give, and this is evergreen content. You may, you may sleep, but your content will keep working for you. And then I'm not talking about the shorts and the reels and all those things that you can always utilize it. Just all these platforms have got all that stuff. Even the transcript is available on YouTube, free of cost. And there are so many free tools which can just, you put the video and they will give you free transcript. Just have a look or be in nice touch with the host. He or she may provide you with that free transcript, and it makes your job. Use it on your website, use it to make small snippets, use it to post on LinkedIn. Forget about, just put one image about yourself, put that wisdom that you have talked about in the show, put out a thread on Twitter, and you see so many places you are there. This is what you have worked for. Utilize it. Repurpose for yourself.
I love
Forget
it.
about the host.
AJ, you're brilliant. You're brilliant. So listeners, it's so much content from just one show. And if you wash, rinse, and repeat, then you start getting repeated shows out there. I think the real value here is that you've worked, like AJ said, so hard on creating your business, right? And everybody wants to get visibility. And that's how your audience finds you. What better way than to record a video or have an expert host ask you really important questions that showcases your business, so that when your potential audience goes out and finds you, they learn about you before they even come to you, because you've done this fantastic commercial on a podcast where you're just sharing ideas and insights about how you help people. This is why it's such a fantastic medium. And I haven't got to 500 shows. We're in the early 200s here, but that's 200 shows of experts that I've helped to get that visibility for the repurposing. And as AJ mentioned, it lives forever, and I think that's the real value, and why we wanted to talk about this today, is to get business owners to think about this medium as a platform for public relations, your message. I wrote a book, I wrote a white paper, I have this special framework, I've helped these specific clients. I'm really good at what I do, and the world needs to hear about it. This is a perfect medium for it. And I mean, you've got two people preaching to you, because we believe in it so deeply. But as AJ mentioned, it's my goodness, he gave us maybe 15 or 20 different tools and uses for the podcast that you're guesting on. So AJ, how do people find podcasts to guest on? We may live in our little bubble of wherever we are. I'm in California, you're in India. Where do people go look for podcasts that they want to get on so they can promote their message?
Right. There are several ways of, getting uh, finding podcasts for the message that you have. So first, do your research, and when you do your research, maybe Google is the right place. But I can also tell about the direct places. One is that you can go on LinkedIn. So there also you can do your own search, and a lot of podcast hosts are there. As I said, look at where you want to reach. This is the power even Facebook has, even LinkedIn has, or any other platform for which you spend so many dollars, so much of money just to reach to your target audience. I want to reach a small, say, block in California, or in particular place. I can do that through Target.
Yeah.
I can choose that target audience, and I can choose the age group. The same way you can do almost that sort of a targeting if you search your podcast requirement well. If you want to reach in India, then you do that. So one is that part, you do the general search. To make your work easier, there are many podcast agencies which are doing that. You pay them, or you go to platforms like Podmatch, and they are very professional, very good people. This is, I guess, if you just go to Podmatch, that should be enough. But in case you want to do look at other options, there is matchmaking or matchmaker. There is podcastguests.com, all these places, and then there are hundreds of other places. Even there are Facebook groups. So try and those. But I would suggest,
and many of those are free. Many of those are free, or they have a small subscription to it. But I mean, many of them are free, and I think that's a fantastic place. One place that that I wouldn't necessarily recommend to go search for the podcast that you want to be on are places like Apple Podcasts, or your Stitch, or your big podcast hosting places, because people, it's like Google, right? Only the list that gets to the top are those that have paid a lot of money to get to the top, or have millions and millions and millions of subscribers, which, to be effective, you don't have to be in that realm. You could be in a place like, with AJ and I, that we have thousands of, AJ has tens of thousands of followers, and that's still really valuable for the audience that you're at. So I love these smaller areas that you're talking about. So where else can we find them? Because I interrupted you, but it's a conversation.
Right. But as I said, the job becomes easy. Join a place like Podmatch. Means, as I said, I know these people. I've been interacting with those people, and they're nice people. That is why I can openly say this. And I would not say the same thing about a lot of other people. But then I don't know them in that way. So you can only talk about people whom you know. So try from Podmatch. I don't know. Maybe it's a very small bit of piece that you'll give, but it's certainly worth it. It makes your job easy. It makes the search very, very easy. Even ChatGPT is charging money. Why to make your answers easy, spend a bit of money and make your business go to places, finding the right podcast host for you.
Right. I love it. And this is such a growing platform. I mean, there are, I don't even know the numbers. AJ, do you know the numbers of how many people are actually listening or watching podcasts these days? I know it's in the billions.
Yeah, I don't know exactly the numbers, but that number is increasing. And in fact, you see, earlier on, if I understand those numbers, US was number one, then Canada was number one. The new markets are, you see, Brazil has come up strongly. There is a lot of monetization happening. So I would say this is the transition period. This is a period of churn. So look at your market. Sometimes numbers may not work the way you want it to see it. So don't just follow the numbers. Follow the engagement. Many a times, as I said, many a times my engagement on LinkedIn is quite good, because people they want, as I said, it is about the way Google search works. you give answers to people's problems or give solutions to them, they will engage more with your content.
Exactly.
And sometimes you see engagement on LinkedIn, engagement of Facebook, engagement on other platforms will be better than even Google. But Google is the go-to place because there your videos are now, even your podcast can be there for a long time. I guess as long as it is possible, this is one platform which is will be there for the longest perhaps. So we have to see that. So don't ignore any of these platforms. All these numbers will perhaps not be able to come together as an individual guest. Don't think like a agency which has to sell a podcast or a podcast guest or a host.
Exactly.
As an individual, you see what works for you. If you have not come on even one show, look at a good place for you to give you a break. And then once you get that thing, look at the engagement part, I would say, and bit by bit, you will understand what is working well for you.
Exactly. You don't do one
said,
ad, right? You don't do one ad and think that, oh, that's going to roll, millions of dollars into your business. You do multiple ads. You repeat the ads. So when you're podcast guesting, your message can change and refresh and update, or you could have 2 or 3 messages that you're using constantly. But if you get out and you do, say, one podcast a month, that's 12 pieces of content that you're talking to their audience, you're talking to your audience. And not only that, funny, I have guests that have found me and listeners that have found me through somebody else. So they came on to say maybe watch AJ's show, but then they find Susie's show, right? Or they find John's show or David's show because they started watching and found other topics. So I think the leverage is exponential and multiplying when you use this. And
Right.
The whole purpose of being in business is to build and earn a customer. And you can't build and earn a customer unless you're visible and available out there. So think of podcasts as a billboard on the side of the freeway, or a commercial on TV, or a radio bit, or a Facebook ad that you have that will last for a long time and continue to bring in customers for you because you're out there talking, as AJ perfectly said, you have a solution to somebody's problem and you're talking about it and giving examples of how you solve that problem for people. And this is from, I use the broad range all the time, from plumbers to attorneys to consultants to realtors and mover, the whole gamut. Every company, dentists, doctors, they can all use this platform to elevate their business and really build a name for themselves as the expert in their industry. So AJ, we're coming up on time here. This has been so fantastic, and I think you've opened the doors for a lot of listeners as to how they can use it in their own business. Even if they're employees, they can use it in their business. But we primarily have business owners on our podcast here. But where can listeners find out more about you, your show, maybe how they can utilize this platform for their own business?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking this, giving me this opportunity to share with the audience. So I can be primarily found on YouTube, on the KJ Masterclass. Just type that Masterclass Live and you'll find me on YouTube. I don't think there are many KJ Masterclass there. So it's a very different sort of a thing. So you'll find me easily. Okay. And that is one place. Second thing is that I am very active on LinkedIn. I've got a LinkedIn page, KJ Masterclass Live, and even on LinkedIn profile also, as you can see, that is my name. If you search on that, connect me on any of these places, especially on LinkedIn, and watch my shows on YouTube. And if you write to me, be sure, or want to be a guest on my show, be sure that I'll respond to that. And rest, I'm also on other places, on Facebook, on Instagram, but on YouTube and LinkedIn, that's for sure. I'm quite active on those things.
I love those 2 channels, and both of them are super powerful for growing your business. I know people forget about YouTube, but YouTube is, believe it or not, YouTube is owned by Google, and I believe Google's the #1 search engine out there. YouTube is the #2 search engine out there. So if you can get your message out on those platforms, and then LinkedIn, which is your perfect audience, I mean, boom, right? There goes your business, there goes your numbers. It can be as tight as only being in California, or it can be international as being in India and Germany and France and Brazil and the US and Canada. I mean, you could become an international star overnight. Just kidding. Wow,
Absolutely.
yeah, the opportunities are endless and boundless, and podcasting is a fantastic tool for doing that. AJ, thank you so much. And I know listeners, I hope you found a couple of ideas to help you in your business to grow more profitability. I know that podcasting is a very easy, very time easy. I don't know how to say that. My brain's not working on that coercion at the moment, but very, very time efficient way for you to get your message out. Literally, you sit here, you come up, you do a little pre-work, you come on, you're live, you're done, right? No driving, flying, hotels, and craziness. But this is a really good tool for that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so thinking about this here as well, how would you like to boost your net profitability by 45%? Right? It doesn't require a podcast to do this. And if you don't think it's possible, it is. Go check out my free training called the 30-Day Profit Booster. This quick and easy boosting strategy can be done without spending more money on marketing, hiring additional staff, or working longer hours. Go get some more information and check it out at 30dayprofitbooster.com. And AJ, as he mentioned, would love to hear your feedback, questions, connect with him. Tell us your wins or your losses, or even topics that you want to talk about, and ask us. We'll comment back on the thread here in this podcast. While you're at it, subscribe. You don't want to miss future shows, and you can always catch Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players. We're looking forward to more great profitable information on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thank you so much, AJ. This was wonderful.